Oh, the Waymo's on the track. What an idiot. Here comes the train. Oh, get out, get out, get out. Oh,
Yeah, welcome back with another banger. Hit that like, sub it up, don't react, bounce. Hit that like, sub it up, don't react, bounce. Y'all feel me? Let's run it.
Y'all, there's been some crazy Stranger Things type anomalies that's been going on in the world lately, and I need y'all to see what's going on here. Look at this in Australia, y'all. What is going on here? Hold on. Y'all think that's it? No. This was also seen in Australia as well, too. Do y'all see that? This is a real life picture. Look at the dragon in the sky, but look at this, y'all. Do y'all see that? That's a whole nother world in there. Hold on. Look at this shit, y'all. Look at this shit. Look, it's other worlds in there. I see why they came out with Stranger Things. They were literally telling us, y'all, aren't those buildings? Hold on. Don't that remind you of Demon Slayer Infinity Castle when they're falling through the castle and they see all these other worlds, all these other buildings? It's the same thing. Now back to this video over here. It was a foggy night in Australia like it's been throughout the whole world. We've been having it for 5 days in Florida, but this thing started pumping out of the sky.
So foggy tonight.
Look at this.
Guys, you see that?
What? Look at that. It looks like they're getting ready to call Godzilla right now, y'all. And what are the odds that National Geographic putting out this article last month talking about the most otherworldly, mysterious forms of lightning on Earth? Talking about these over here. And these things are known as sprites, but they're literally telling us that we're seeing into a whole nother world when we see these things. And that's exactly what Stranger Things is about, isn't it? I haven't seen it yet, but somebody let me know down in the comments. I know I'm not tripping, right, y'all? Y'all see these buildings, or what could they be? No wonder why those videos where people were seeing those buildings in the clouds in China and all these things were going viral. They were getting us ready. They were letting us know we're about to see a whole nother world. I've been telling y'all the shift is here. Let me know what you guys think about this video. Let's get it, y'all. Peace in.
He's been telling us the shift is here. After saying that, something definitely shifted, and he needs to go watch Stranger Things because that's exactly what it's about. Freaking upside down IRL. Like, yo, shout out to Australia. Let me know if you've seen this or captured any film.
look, nothing in the sky at all. Then all of a sudden, bam, what is that? Anybody tell me what that is? We're in the middle of the ocean on a ferry. Nothing around. Look, nothing around. No land, no nothing.
I'll say it once and I'll say it again. It's always in the movies. Now, there's been a ton of talk lately from the White House about Trump purchasing Greenland and making it the 51st state of America. Now, reason being, he said it's for national security because of growing tensions from foreign entities. But let's not forget that Greenland has 25 of the 34 minerals that are deemed critical raw materials, which include copper, diamond, gold, graphite, iron ore, nickel, just to name a few. But here's where it gets weird. Can anybody tell me why there is a movie coming out on January 9th called Greenland? And if you guys notice on the movie posters, it has these 4 cities: Los Angeles, San Francisco, New York, and Chicago. Now, what is this movie about? So this was a sequel to part 1 that came out in 2020, and it reads, in the aftermath of a comet that decimates most of the planet, the Garrity family must leave the safety of their Greenland bunker to traverse a shattered world in search of a new home. So we're talking about bunkers and national security. This is all starting to make sense. But it gets even weirder, you guys. So it's not just the movies, it's the video games as well. So this game called Call of Duty Ghosts comes out in 2013, right? Now, what is this game about? So this game takes place in 2026, where a special unit called Ghosts goes to Caracas, Venezuela to capture a dictator. Now, this game came out in November of 2013, which is the same year that Maduro took power. Now, if that's not weird enough for you, right before Maduro gets caught on January 3rd, the co-founder of Call of Duty dies in a car crash December 21st. But wait, hold up. So you mean to tell me the co-founder of Call of Duty dies, then 13 days later Maduro gets caught, in which the game is about him getting caught, and the game comes out on a 13th year, he takes power on a 13th year, and the founder becomes literally a ghost. What? Simulation complete. I have no idea what to make of all this, but make sure you guys hit up my YouTube, The Maverick Approach, and let me know what you guys think about all this down below.
Yo, shout out to Maverick Approach. I like how he put that together. Yo, that's wild. 13 days, wow. On the 13th year. Predictive programming, most definitely.
I have some massive fucking news, no, historic fucking news for you this morning. My name is Hunter Howell. I'm going to give you the objective news first and then my opinion at the end, as always. So, the Bella 1, which was a Russian oil tanker, was just seized, stolen today by the United States military. It was flying under a Russian flag. Previously, Russia had sent naval assets, including a submarine, to protect this oil tanker. Here is where it gets even weirder. This Russian oil tanker had zero oil on it. So my question is, why did the USA steal it, and why was Russia trying so hard to protect it? Now, also, Russia came out with a statement saying they're pretty mad about this. Finally, this next part is allegedly, once I can confirm it, I will. Russians that were aboard the Bella 1 oil tanker are being held hostage by the United States right now. What the fuck? That's my big question. It seems as if this escalation is going a lot faster than a lot of people thought. What comes next, I don't know. This is strange, to say the least, and this is not normal, and we shouldn't act like it is. It definitely seems as if the times of peace are coming to an end. Relative peace. Obviously, there's so much conflict going on before this, but I'm talking on a big global scale. My name is Hunter Howell. I'm sending you my love. I'll keep you updated when I know more news. This is obviously a huge, historic developing story. On the 15th, my show, The Purple Populist Show, is coming out on Patreon. I can't wait to see you there. I'm dropping 8 episodes a month. It's going to be the coolest show in news. I'll get back to every single comment later today, but you got to repost as well and share with 5 of your friends.
Shout out to Hunter Howell. Now, this is what I'm not hearing on the news. Seizing an oil tanker that doesn't have any oil on it. Like, the crew are now hostages? Am I hearing this right? What would be on that ship? Or was it just a ruse? Were the Russians playing poker and laid out some bait? Yo, war strategy. What do you think happened? Let me know in the comments down below.
This is probably going to be the biggest breaking news of the entire day today. The Secretary of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem, announced on X today on the 7th of January of 2026 that the U.S. Coast Guard just got done conducting 2 simultaneous pre-dawn boarding operations on vessels that were identified as part of the, quote, ghost fleet or shadow fleet of oil tankers, which are essentially the oil tankers that various countries around the world use to transport oil and sell oil, doing ship-to-ship transfers, doing flag changes, spoofing their AIS signals. It's basically their way of getting around sanctions on oil. So the 2 vessels that were involved was the motor tanker Bella 1, referred to as Bella 1, later renamed Marinera, which was boarded and seized in the North Atlantic Ocean. This vessel had been pursued by the U.S. Coast Guard since mid-December of 2025, when it initially evaded an attempted boarding in the Caribbean while en route to load oil in Venezuela. During the pursuit, the crew painted a Russian flag on the hull, renamed the ship Marinera, and registered it under Russian jurisdiction, home port reportedly Sochi. In an apparent bid for protection, it was tracked by the U.S. Coast Guard cutter Monroe, and the seizure was executed pursuant to a U.S. federal warrant or court warrant for sanction violations, primarily linked to prior involvement in Iranian oil trade, though it also tied to Venezuelan routes. Reports indicate that there was no resistance during the final boarding. The other tanker that was boarded was the motor tanker Sophia, which was boarded and apprehended in international waters near the Caribbean Sea, described as a stateless, sanctioned dark fleet motor tanker, and it was operating illicitly with its last port call in Venezuela or en route there. The U.S. Coast Guard is escorting it to a U.S. port, and the operation occurred without incident. Both operations were described by the U.S. Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem as meticulously coordinated and back-to-back, occurring within hours of each other. She also went on to praise the Coast Guard for 2 safe, effective boardings and shared footage of the actions, which you are seeing currently right now. Now, this is part of the intensified interdictions that the U.S. has been enforcing in the Caribbean under President Donald Trump, who announced a complete blockade on sanctioned tankers involved in Venezuela's oil trade in December of 2025. So the international reactions have been very interesting because Venezuela has historically denounced this as, quote, piracy or theft. And, I'm sure there's going to be a little bit more response from Russia as a result of this as well. But their response hasn't been super extreme just yet. Because I don't know for a fact if they were actually part of Russia's shadow fleet or if they just painted a Russian flag hoping that that would, reduce the likelihood that the U.S. would want to board them. Who knows? But as we get more information, I'll keep you guys updated.
He's absolutely right. Was that ship Russia or was it just painted on? Shout out to Kagan Dunlap. It's definitely something to keep an eye on for real. Because if they were indeed Russia ships, oh my.
Russia is threatening to strike the American Navy if they do not release the Russian hostages taken from a seized oil tanker in international waters. Hours ago, the U.S. Navy seized a Russian oil ship in the Arctic, taking the crew hostage. And the White House press secretary just said anyone on the ship will be put to trial in the United States. The ship with Russian citizens on board was in international waters, departing to Russia. The leader of the Russian parliament said this, quote, "To attack with torpedoes to sink a couple of American Coast Guard boats. I think the United States is in a kind of euphoria of impunity after the special operation in Venezuela, which can only be stopped now with a click on the nose." The Russians did send their navy to protect and escort the ship back to Russia, but the Americans boarded the ship anyway and risked a nuclear war over oil. And now the U.S. will be putting the Russian citizens on trial, with the Russian government saying if the hostages are not immediately returned to Russia, there will be dire consequences. Comment your thoughts. Follow me for the newest update.
See, this is what I was trying to understand. Was there an official statement? It looks like it was. Like, yo, this is wild. Yo, what are we doing right now? First, we heard that it was painted on to avoid consequences. There was so much speculation. Definitely haven't heard this on the news. Shout outs to Ethan Levin's.
Did anyone see this headline? I want to know what Russia knows. Take a look at this. Russia is urgently evacuating diplomatic personnel and their families from Israel, having organized 3 flights in the past 24 hours. The evacuation is taking place at an accelerated pace, indicating the presence of important information. The Russian army is urgently evacuating employees of the Russian embassy in Israel, along with their families in Israel, and returning them to Russia. And this is reported by the Daily Iran News. Also, not sure if you saw this footage, it's actually pretty insane. The United States seized a Russian flagged oil tanker carrying Venezuelan oil. We stopped them in international waters and temporarily took 30 of their troops. Russia condemned this, obviously, and said, hey, give us our troops back. We said, this is legal, took the ship back to the United States and placed it into U.S. custody as part of sanctions enforcement. So there's a lot of foreign tension going on right now that no one's really talking about, and it's getting kind of weird.
That's a lot of troops. Shout outs to You Won't Believe Me Official. I'm definitely not hearing this one in the news. 30 troops, bro. Especially happening in international waters. That's wild.
If this isn't a testimony to just how much snow Juneau, Alaska has gotten over the last couple of weeks, I don't know what is. This is a camper attached to a very buried truck. And this isn't even a one-off thing. This is the same scene all across different areas of the city, especially in the little bit higher elevation areas. Several other homes and buildings have had their roofs cave in due to the amount of weight from the snow and the mix of rain, almost turning it into a cement type of snowpack. And it's just adding so much pressure to these buildings. They cannot withstand it. And the thing is, there could be another 30 inches of snow to come this week. We're getting a little bit of a break right now, but they are certainly not out of the woods yet.
Henshin! If you are weird and have weird ideas, and weird, by the way, means fate, I'm gonna tell you why you, yes you, can change the world with your ideas. Do not give up. So this is a Mandelbrot set, and this is the man who discovered it. And mainstream science hated him. He was an outsider. Okay, very quickly, put simply, the Mandelbrot set is a regular, self-similar fractals that challenges Euclidean geometry, which is smooth, perfect shapes. This is important. This is where you, my imperfect angel, come in. So Mandelbrot was born into a Jewish family under the threat of the Nazi occupation. He had a rough and irregular life. He did not have traditional schooling. Ha! And at a time where most people were focused on perfection, which they still are today, and they're wrong, he used pattern recognition to say the clouds are not spheres, the mountains are not cones, and coastlines are not circles, and bark is not smooth. He was able to see and describe the true roughness of the world and put it into mathematics where other people were afraid to. He wanted to find order where everyone else saw lawless mess. He focused on the rawness of life, on the in-between, on the discarded. Your weaknesses, the things you notice that no one cares about, your uniqueness, your novelty, that is your fucking magic. Do not cast away your ideas because the mainstream doesn't believe them. That is how you push to the frontier of everything. Keep going. He directly contradicted the accepted view. He always persisted. And even though it came slowly, recognition came. He was isolated for years. So if you're alone right now and like crying because you're alone, I've been there, I'm there. It will not be forever. Your time will come if you keep going and believe in yourself and express yourself every day and don't stop. Don't let that throat chakra be silenced. Eventually he was recognized. Woo! Remember, truth is more important and powerful than consensus. Search for truth, not popularity or acceptance from your peers, because it'll come anyway. And there's such cool parts of the Mandelbrot set. There's a place called Seahorse and Elephant Land. Kind of, not really. It's called Seahorse Valley and Elephant Valley. It's just like a cool little tidbit about the Mandelbrot set. Okay, so here's the thing. You know what else is fractal? Plasma. And I used my pattern recognition to write a book about plasma and the magic of it, but I actually say that there's a fourth dimensional plasma and multi-dimensional plasma that is finer than the fourth state of matter plasma. Okay, so hear me out. The Mandelbrot set is not physics, it's mathematics. There's our 3D reality, but there's a finer 4D reality made up of Mandelbrot fractals, and it feeds into our reality, and it connects us as a bridge to our higher selves or God, whatever you want to call it. Stay with me. Fractal means fractured. It's made up of fractures, just like how the light comes in through cracks, the realm of our thoughts and emotions and archetypes. There's even mythology about a dragon being slayed in half and fractured, becoming heaven and earth. One field, two projections. Basically, plasma as the least collapsed physical state, it's a close-up analog of this generative field that's made of Mandelbrot fractals, determines this reality and connects to our thoughts and emotions. Teach more my magic.
Mandelbrots, fractals. Yo, this is a higher state of intelligence right here. Shout out to Dana Kipple and its relation to the 4D with plasma. One thing for sure, believe in yourself, don't stop and keep going. I absolutely agree.
While the system has you staring at distraction and fear-mongering on your screens, instead of the real agenda, the very ground beneath our feet is being traded as a commodity. They want you focused on emergency signals so you don't see the cold, calculated grand bargain happening in Paris and Moscow. Here is the truth the elites aren't telling you. 3 days ago, the US captured Venezuela in a lightning strike, but why was the response from the East so quiet? Because the deal was already signed in December. The system in Moscow evacuated its diplomats' families 10 days before the first bomb fell. They didn't lose Venezuela, but they sold it, and today in Paris, the second half of that trade is being finalized. While they speak of sovereignty, they are carving Ukraine into a free economic zone. This isn't a peace treaty, it's a corporate merger. The U.S.-Ukraine Reconstruction Investment Fund is already live, with titans like BlackRock and JP Morgan waiting to manage the $800 billion recovery in Ukraine. In the Donbass, while the smoke still clears, Russian and Chinese industrial giants like Sany Heavy Industry are already moving in to claim the lithium, titanium, and coal. It was a trade, Venezuela for Ukraine. A simple swap of human lives to secure their respective backyards. But the system of control is never satisfied. Even as they trade away nations, they are eyeing Greenland to lock down the Arctic. They are drawing a new map, a Donroe Doctrine, where the people don't exist, only spheres of influence and mineral reserves. They don't fear a nuclear war, they fear us realizing that they are all on the same side. They aren't rivals, they are all business partners. It's time to stop looking at their breaking news and start looking at their hands. They are moving the pieces, and we are the board. It's time we stopped playing their games. Stay awake, and stay united. We do not forgive, we do not forget. Anonymously enlightening out.
That's a wrap. Hope you enjoyed the deep dive. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider to give it a like, subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to hit that notification bell. Shout outs to all the reactors. Thanks again. Till next time.